Hello there and welcome to another video for teachers, right? Especially this for teachers. If you are grading your students, then this is going to be a very helpful video. Now let's look at the screen. We are looking at a class, maybe grade 7. There are 22 students, there are 5 subjects, and then there's a total, and then you have to give a grade and some feedback. Now, how long would it take for you to normally do this? First, entering the marks is very manual. It's manual. You cannot do anything apart from entering the data manually. All of this, let me highlight that. All of this has to be entered manually. There's nothing else you can do. So that is not something we can automate unless your entire assessment is online. Well, so with that out of the way, we have to fill out these yellow highlighted columns for the total, the grade, and the feedback. Now, normally what you do is just total these up and you get the sum here. So you can see down here 283 if you highlight all this. If I highlight all this, that should be 323 and so on and so forth. You can do that, or you can use a calculator. But of course, the purpose of the video is to show you how you can do it faster, easier, and yes, develop your skills at the same time. All right, now we can also give grades based on some criteria. Okay, so if the total is for 500, then I'm going to divide this 500 maybe based on your school, but for the purposes of this, I'm going to divide these 500 marks into 5 different categories: grade A, B, C, D, and E. All right, so anyone who gets above 90% is grade A, 80 to 90 is B, and so forth. If anyone gets below 40%, it's E, grade E. So that's what it is. And based on the grades, we want to provide feedback. Now, feedback is going to be based on the overall grade and not the individual performance of the subjects. For the purposes of this video, if you want to learn how to do that, then message me in the comments and I'll make another video on how you can do that. But let's stick to this video and how to do this. So first, we're gonna achieve 3 things. We're gonna do the total, we're gonna do the grades, and we're gonna use feedback. And for all this, we're also going to use ChatGPT, our favorite virtual assistant, to create the rubrics for us. All right, so let's first total this up. I'm going to delete this. How do you do a total? It's a very simple thing. If you don't know, learn it. If you know it, well and good. You can skip forward a few seconds to the next step. Okay, so what I'm going to write here is equals. I'm going to type equals sum, open bracket. Then using my mouse, I'm going to select all the cells that I want to sum, right? I want to calculate, add up, close bracket, and hit the enter. Okay, so I've got the total there. Now if you want to cross check, select all that. You can see it down below here, sum 283. Now I've got to do it for everything, but there's another easy method. All right, so what I'm going to do is, using the mouse, I'm going to highlight all these cells with the first one included. And then on the keyboard, I'm going to hit the Control and D. Okay, what am I? Control and D. That is a fill down. I'm going to fill down the formula. Fill down the formula. All right, I'm going to give you another example. Okay, let me do it first. Okay, select all that, Control D. And there we go. Now, what if it's not a formula and I have 283 here? If I use the same thing, Control D, check what happens. The same value gets filled down. But if it is formula, the formula gets filled down. So this is very important, very useful to know. Okay, make sure it's a formula, but because if it's a value, then everything is going to be the same. All right, so when it's values, do not use a Control D or the fill down, but when it's a formula, you can do that. All right, I'm deleting that. So we've got the first column ready. The total is ready. That's kudos to you. You want to try it out? Pause the video and try it out. Okay, if not, let's get on with it and you can try all this later on. Now for the grades, we need to present the grades here based on the level of marks here. Now that's going to be a little challenging because now if it's just 22 students, it's easier than if it's 50 students or 40 students or 30 students, right? I want to save time. I want to do the work once and then save time. So how am I going to do that? I'm going to use a formula. Now for the formula, before we get to the formula, let's go ahead and create the rubrics in ChatGPT. Okay, so our favorite tool, ChatGPT, and we'll go ahead and create the rubrics. All right, now here we are in ChatGPT. I hope you know it, chatgpt.com. If you have an account, go ahead and create it. It's free. And then this is the prompt I gave it. Now, if you want to learn more about how to use ChatGPT, and if it's the first time or you've not had a lot of experience with this, go to the link in the description. I've got a school, an academy, where there is a course on how to use ChatGPT from the basics. You'll learn exactly how to do it. But for now, let's look at this prompt here. It's called a prompt. Any instruction you give to ChatGPT is called a prompt. So what am I writing here? I'm grading my students and I want to provide standard feedback that is rubric based for the students. I will add on any individual feedback later or update the data set to include individual subject scores. Now this is what I said. If you want to know how to do that, message me in the comments and I'll let you know when I create a new video. But for now, I want you to create rubrics for a total score of 500. Let's categorize into 5 grades like I mentioned already. And this is the initial idea that I have for it. Now you can change these numbers as per your school or however you're grading them. You can change this up. This is not standard. This is what I've done for this example. Now this is very important. Please create generic feedback statements for each grade. Everything should be positive or constructive. This is very important. You don't want to present negative feedback to the students. You don't want to affect their psyche. You don't want to demotivate them. You want to encourage them. Even if they have not done well, you still want to encourage them. So keep the feedback statements short and crisp, positive and constructive. Right for a reading level of grade 5. Now that's a very generic statement we use for every ChatGPT prompt so that the output we get is readable and it's kind of very nice. Okay, so here's the output I got from ChatGPT. Grade A, 451 to 500 points. Notice I didn't give the points here. I just give the total 500 and this did the calculation for me. Yeah, so 90% and above. I've got 3 statements for each of these. These are the rubrics. This is the standard feedback that I can present to the students. So anyone who gets a score between 300 to 400 should be graded grade C, and one of these statements should hold true for that person. Okay, so I've got this. I'm going to take only one of these 3 statements for each of these grades. I don't want all 3. I'm going to pick one of the 3 and I'm going to enter them into the table. I'm going to create a new table in Excel. Okay, so let's head on back to Excel. We're back in Excel and I've already done that. So let me just unhide it. Okay, unhide that. I've already done that. I've got the rubrics. I've got the grade that I'm going to give for that particular rubric. I'll tell you why I need this in this format. And the feedback. I've chosen one statement from each of those. Okay, your performance is outstanding. Keep up the great work. Okay, take a look at this here. Your performance is outstanding. Keep up the great work. We have 3 here and I've chosen just one of them. Okay, so I've got it all for all 5 grades and my table is ready for the next step. Now we're going to grade here. Now let me give you a disclaimer. This table is not necessary to grade here. Okay, it's not necessary, and we're going to actually write a long formula, but remember that's going to be based on the formula is going to be based on these numbers here: 0 to 200, 200, 1 to 300, 300, 1 to 400, and so on. Now to save time, I've already created this formula and I'm going to show you. Okay, so I'm just going to unhide this. I'm going to show you the formula. I'm going to hide these 2. I don't need that. Okay, so here we go. I have the grade and the formula. All this is automatic. Okay, so let's just remove that. Oh, okay, we'll come to that. Okay, so here's a formula. I know this might seem very confusing, but this is the format of the formula. Okay, if you can pause the video and write it down, it might help you. But basically what we're doing is a comparison. We're using an if statement here. If A is, okay, let's say, let me go through the formula with you and just help you understand this part of it. Okay, if it's getting confusing, just and if your data is in the same format, just make sure you copy this formula, make sure the references to the cells are the same, and I think you should be all good. Okay, if you're still confused, just go do a YouTube search for if formula, how to use if formula in Excel, and you should get plenty of videos teaching you how to do that. Okay, let's go to this now. The formula is if h3 is a total. If h3 is less than 200, then grade E. Okay, the comma, let me show you what the format of the formula is. Equals if, okay, and I open bracket. If logical test, comma, value if true, comma, value if false. That's a format. Okay, so there's a logical test. The logical test is it should match. I want to check if this value here in h3, okay, is if the value of h3 is equal to or less than or whatever I want to check about that 283. Okay, so that's what I'm checking here. If, okay, let me exit out of that, get to the formula. If h3 is less than 201, that's here, less than 201, that means 0 to 200, I'm giving a grade E. If now we have ranges to compare, 201 to 300, 301 to 400, that's a range, and so we need to have two criteria that need to be satisfied to get the next grade, which is D or C or B, yeah, those three. Now, so we're going to use if, open brackets, and we're going to check two or more criteria, and that means both these criteria should be satisfied in order for us to give the next grade. If h3 is greater than 200, that's 201 onwards, and less than 301, that means till 300, sorry. So 201 till 300 is grade D. There we have it. And it's the same way all the way till here until the last one. We just give it as A. We don't need to use another if formula there. And then we close brackets to match the number of open brackets. Close brackets, match the number of open brackets, and we are all set. That's the formula. Now I'm going to use the same Control D option, the shortcut Control D, and we fill it up. Now I'm going to show you how we get this feedback up here. I'm going to first delete this and show you there's another formula there. I'll show you what it is. But for now, we got this. Want to test it out? Let's go with this first one and change it to 50. What should it be? It should be E. 50 E. Okay, so there we have it. Now, why do we want this formula here? Let's say that the student actually came to you with a correction in the total score, and instead of 55, the student scored 70. Then everything changes, right? It's automatic now. Take a look at the total and the grade. Okay, I changed it from 55 to 70. I'm going to hit enter. Take a look at that. 298, and it's still D because it's 298. Okay, so let's say social also, and social was 60. Now take a look at the total and grade. Okay, it's automatic. 313 C, and even this changed. Even the feedback changed. How did we do that? All right, now that's the last part of it. We'll come to that. And for that, for the feedback, we need to have this table. This table is very important in the same order as this table, the grade and feedback, grade and feedback. So make sure that your table is in the same format. The grade on the left side, feedback on the right, grade on the left side, feedback on the right side. That's how it should be. And we're going to use a different formula, and this is what it is. It's a VLOOKUP. You may or may never have heard of this formula. It's very easy. It might take a little getting used to if this is the first time. If you've used it already, then it should not matter. So let's take a look at it. VLOOKUP. I'm going to type the formula here and show you what it is. VLOOKUP. Okay. So it's going to look up a value in a table with a column index and the range lookup. All right. So let's type the formula. Equals VLOOKUP. Okay, the lookup value is the value right in grade. Okay, so I'm going to select that cell and hit enter the comma. Where? What is the table array? The table array is this. Which are the columns of the table? This is the columns of the table. Okay, those two. Now to make sure that these references remain constant, when we pull down the formula to the other cells, I'm going to hit F4, function key F4, and notice that we got the dollar signs here. That means now it is an absolute reference. It will not change. If you don't do this, the reference will become relative and you will not get accurate information. Now use a comma again. And which column of this table has the data? Now first we said this is the table where my data is. Now which column of this table is my data in? My data in reference to this cell is in column 2. So I'm going to use 2 there, comma again. Range lookup is true or false, approximate match or exact match. I want to go with exact match, so select exact match. Okay, false, or I'm just going to use 0 there and close bracket. Now with the C there, I should get, keep it up, you're doing well, but there is room for improvement. That should be my result here. If not, it's wrong. So let's hit the enter and see if it worked. Yes, it worked. Now let's do the control D for one cell, control D. So let's select it, control D. B, so B stands for well done, you're doing well. B, well done, you're doing very well, just need, okay, so it's working. So what we're going to do now is just select all that, control D, and we're done. So anyone with A here, your performance is outstanding, keep up the great work. E, don't give up, keep trying, you'll get better. Then there's a D, there's potential in your work, review the material, try again. So there we have it. Now your template is ready. All you have to do is reuse this template. You don't need to even create this formula again and again and again. All you need to do is change this for any other grade that you're teaching, any other marks you want to calculate. If it's a grade, like if you need it in the same format, you've got it. You just need to reuse this template. Copy and save it as a new file, and you're ready to use it as a new template. So with that said, I think we've come to the end of this video. I know it went over 15 minutes. I didn't think it would go so long, but I hope you learned a lot. Now let's recap. First, you learn how to use a sum formula. Okay, equals sum, and then select the cells you want to add up, and that's it. Then you learn how to get the rubrics. Okay, this is the prompt. I'll put this prompt in the video description, so if you want to use it, you can use it for yourself. Okay, and then we learn how to use the if statement, okay, to calculate the grade automatically. Now if you want to do it manually, yes, you can do it manually if you are getting confused with this formula. And this one is a simpler formula, feedback based on our table here. Remember, the VLOOKUP formula works when the table and the data are in the same order. Okay, the data always should be on the right hand side of the reference cell, reference value. Okay, so that's it for this video. You might have a lot of questions. Put them in the comments below and I'll try my best to answer them as and when I can. All right, I hope this was helpful. Just remember, this is definitely going to save you a lot of time over the years or months of your teaching career. Okay, so go ahead, watch this video again, pause it wherever you need to, look at the formulas, practice it, implement it. Might take you a while in the beginning, but once you're ready with this, it's going to take no time at all, and you'll be saving lots of time, have enough time to spend with your family and your kids maybe, and enough time for your hobbies and fun as well. All right, so thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.